Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So we're going to talk about Phoenix. We're going to hit the things that most people are talking about in a matter of seconds, and then we're going to get to the meat of this issue, because there's a lot of things that people are not talking about that they need to be talking about. Okay, so Phoenix PD released their fact sheet, which was really light on facts. If you were to just look at their fact sheet, there was no force used. More importantly, why would we believe this? After what we saw and what was apparently in the original reports, why would we believe anything that comes out of that department? The credibility of that department is ruined. It is gone. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it's all true. It makes things worse, not better. Okay, so first you have to address the fact that they made that first stop. At that point they should have known, because the first question, who's in the car? So they knew there were kids present when all of this started. That makes all of their other actions that much more reprehensible. Now, let's say they shoplifted some stuff. Let's say that happened, even though there's no charges. Let's just say that happened. I'm going to pop a cap in you over this. Is it worth it? Does that make sense? Congratulations, Phoenix PD. You have the same propensity for violence as an addict looking for a fix. Good job. And you're acting as though that might justify it. It doesn't. It makes it worse. Okay, now to the meat of the issues. Homework. Right now, below there's a video. Let's talk about a cop asking me for training. Watch it. And then watch the videos of this incident again. Try to count how many of the points that I talked about that create bad shoots, that create excessive force, that happened in the video. It's a textbook. Okay, so you've watched it. All right, welcome back. Time, distance, and cover was not used. And it should have been, especially with the knowledge the kids were present. Made it that much more important. They didn't. They Starsky and Hutched it right up to the car. There was one guy who used cover. At that point, if you become in fear for your life of a crying woman holding kids, well, that's on you, because you put yourself in that situation. This isn't new stuff. This has been around for more than a decade. One person gives commands. Not there, though. Not in Phoenix. Put your hands up. Get out of the car. Which one gets her shot? Which one are you going to kill her over and say, well, she wasn't following her commands? You give conflicting commands and people die. As far as I'm concerned, if that happens, that should be murder. This has been known long enough that every department should be acting on this. Auditory exclusion. I didn't think I needed to cover the fact that threatening to kill someone, bust a cap in them, would be a traumatic experience and can trigger auditory exclusion. At that point, you can't say you're not complying. Once you've done this, once you have put them in that state of mind, auditory exclusion is a possibility. So from that point forward, it's on you. It's on you. And from the video, even though the officer is saying you're not complying, it certainly appears that he was. Became afraid of their own shadows, because they put themselves in a situation they didn't need to be in. They have bought into the propaganda that apparently a shoplifter is going to kill them. And you can hear it. Anybody who has ever been in one of those situations, when they're listening to those videos, they hear it. They hear panic, the inability to self-help. You can hear it in the voices. If you are that afraid of a situation like this, and you cannot control a situation like this, you're in the wrong job. You're going to get yourself or an innocent killed. not a bad guy. That's not going to happen. It's going to be you, an innocent, your partner. It's not going to be the person that needs to go. Something that I think is definitely being missed is the ideologically motivated thing. One of the people standing near somebody filming, you could hear him. When it started to get really crazy, you hear him, hey, hey, hey. How long until that becomes pop, pop, pop? When you behave like this, you turn the populace against you. Your actions become an officer safety issue. You're going to get somebody killed. You're going to get somebody killed. When you have civilians that are fighting not to intervene, even though they're surrounded by officers, you're out of line. That's what we call an indicator. We write the report, right? According to what's coming out, there was no use of force. Seems like there was in the videos. None of this was in the reports because we write the report. There was no de-escalation attempted. None on any of the videos from any of those angles. None. That's not actually covered because it's the modern era and I didn't think that was necessary. And then there's no body cameras used. Now all this is tactical and people are saying no, body cameras are a policy issue. It's also tactical. It is also a tactical issue because when a situation like this arises, you can go back and you can look at all of the things that went wrong. And in this case, a lot of things went wrong. You can hot wash it after action it. You can stop it from happening again. Unless, of course, you don't comply with the regulations. Didn't comply. What happens to civilians when they don't comply? I don't think the people that are demanding these officers be fired are asking too much. On to policy. Use of force. I'm not familiar with Phoenix's use of force policy. I'm not familiar with it. If this is within it, you need a change of policy. You need a change of policy, period. Period. The no body cameras thing, obviously, because that allows them to just, well, we write the report. There were omissions, apparently. I haven't been able to see them, but according to everybody, there were things that were left out, and it certainly seems that way. Again, we write the report, right? But now your credibility's gone. And then there's one other thing that is very important that I think is being missed. Those kids. When they got handed over. Now, personally, I believe that people that took those kids, I think you're heroes. And I don't use that word lightly. I think you may have saved lives in more ways than one. At the same time, it certainly appears from the conversation on the film that they didn't know each other. Woman was so terrified that she handed her kids over to somebody, a stranger, or somebody she barely knew, didn't know what apartment she was in. I've seen that before. Congratulations, Phoenix PD. You're on par with death squads. Now, if something had happened to those kids, who's to blame? Phoenix PD. And then there's the big issue. The brass is acting like they found out about this via the videos. If this is my department, everybody on scene, every officer on scene is gone. Because that means nobody put paper on these guys. Nobody put paper on the perpetrators. Nobody filed a report. Nobody put accurate information in the report. Now, to me, they're gone. That's what should happen. If it was my department, that's what I would do. I'm not sure how you can get around that, because now every defense attorney in the city is going to try to get their names. And then from that point forward, no report they write is going to be worth anything. Isn't it true that you omitted facts in this report? So how can we trust this one? The situation was horrible. And the fact that the department is trying to justify it over the fact that they maybe were shoplifting or maybe had a suspended license, nobody cares. You threatened to kill a mother in front of her kids. Yeah. Nobody cares. And this is in a department that has systemic issues. The longer this drags out, the worse it's going to be. The department needs to make its decisions and let the chips fall where they may. If you drag this out, it's just going to get worse. Your credibility is already shot. You need to make your decision on what you're going to do. And it really should include cutting these people a check. A big one. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good night.